Child. Sean Diddy Combs and Donald J. Trump's relationship demonstrates how easily two people can go from "that's my boy for life" to "I don't know that man."
Sean Diddy Combs,
Right.
would you consider pardoning him?
Well, he was essentially, I guess, sort of half innocent.
Yes.
I don't know what they do. He's still in jail or something, but he was celebrating a victory, but he seems, I guess it wasn't as good as a victory. Probably, I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great, and seemed like a nice guy. I didn't know him well. But when I ran for office, he was very hostile.
He said some not so nice things about you, sir.
And
Yes.
it's hard, like you, we're human beings.
Right.
And we don't like to have things cloud our judgment, right? But when you knew someone and you were fine, and then you run for office and he made some terrible statements. So I don't know, it's more difficult. It makes it more, I'm being honest, it makes it more difficult to do.
I was talking about the spread boy controversies before Diddy's latest court appearances. He used to compete with Trump like it was a race, attend the same upscale events, and socialize with him in the same circles. They would pose like cousins for the cameras throughout the picnic. Trump wasn't opposed to it either. I remember him on movies. "I love Diddy," he said with a big smile. "He's a decent man. I will stand up for him." And he used his chest to say it. Led many people to believe that Trump would ride for Diddy without looking into his prior wrongdoings. However, a few years later, Donald realizes that suddenly, Mr. Combs was sitting in the Oval Office saying something that wasn't "congrats, my guy." No, Diddy stated, "We don't give a F about Trump," in response to a direct question in 2017. "We're not on that." Whoa! As if that weren't enough, he reaffirmed his support for Charlemagne the God in 2020 and declared that ousting Trump from office was the paramount goal. Trump has a sensitive side these days, Despite his assumption of superiority, he let someone he had once called a friend criticize him. Yes, he will experience that. Trump took the mess personally, based on the streets and his own minor interview gaffes. Asserted that the negative remarks Diddy made about him led to it was more challenging when people were asked to assist him. Offer support by obtaining a presidential pardon. Diddy's staff might have hoped the same thing would be true. However, the Trump child's response to it was essentially, "No, I'm fine." Furthermore, the answer was a straightforward "No, I should also let everyone know that you no longer support me." Poof. All of the old friendships are suddenly gone, and many individuals are whispering that politics has nothing to do with this. The problem lies in loyalty. Trump supposedly believes Diddy stabbed him in the back, so he wants to make him feel the pain every day in the courtroom.
Consider pardoning him.
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I'd look at what's happening, and I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, that relationship busted up.
If you believe that Trump's slight rejection was merely impoliteness during an interview, you're not prepared for the rest, my love. Who is it, considering 47 put a stop to the concept of a presidential pardon? The tablecloth appears to have been stolen, leaving just crumbs behind. As you can see, Diddy is now sitting up straight in his cell after the jurors found him guilty on 2 separate charges of breaking the Mann Act. According to federal law, people cannot be moved across state lines for purposes such as those for which the legislation is not intended. But those are not minor infractions. They have a 10-year shelf life. In other words, we're discussing a maximum of 20 years or 2 decades. Before Trump stuck his orange nose into this, the legal community was now speculating that Diddy might have slipped out with something minor, a first-time criminal with a history of jail experience. And the whole gravy. Some even suggested that he be placed under house arrest in one of those Miami palaces, placed on probation, or served time. But according to reports, Trump began making calls as soon as he made up his mind that he was done with Diddy. According to reports, he depended on Aaron, the current judge, to give him the go-ahead to use the most powerful hammer permitted by Law. The most prevalent kind of sentences are heavy ones. Take a look at the judge's recent actions if you believe that to be just gossip. Diddy's attorneys then made another attempt to have him released on bail a few weeks ago. Sweetheart, this is the fifth time. Fifth. They even offered to provide a bond of $50 million. Indeed, supported by his Miami crib and an M. Upon seeing it, Judge Aaron essentially stated, "No, ma'am," despite the fact that money usually speaks. He rejected it in the same way that Diddy handed Monopoly money. It wasn't a casual rejection either. The court stated in his written statement that he believes Diddy poses a risk of flight and is a community hazard. As obvious as day, he said that. You see, before deciding that no one in the courtroom wants to hear what the official judge has to say, the court must provide compelling evidence to support it. After that, you sensed a change in energy. Diddy's employees displayed a smug "we're going to get him home" mentality. Not present. It appears like the party's music and voices have been interrupted. Trump's fingerprints are said to be all above this. Forget about completely disregarding the petition. "Don't you dare pardon Diddy," reads a letter signed by more than 11,000 people, as though they had all suddenly become best friends with the Department of Justice. Trump enjoys having supporters, and you know it well. This makes him want to double down even harder. So, here we are. Before Trump, Diddy's crew was discussing an early release. We're discussing the possibility that Trump will hold the presidency for another 20 years. Orange jumpsuits and early lights out, no drinks, no boats. We'll talk about how the pardon was practically finalized until Diddy reportedly played himself. So we're not even at the messy part yet, sweetie.
Men like Trump need to be banished. That way of thinking is real dangerous. When you look at it, we don't have no choice. You know what I'm saying? You can say what you want about Biden. I can't say I love the pick either, but hey, we got to get him in office, and then we got to hold him accountable.
Now for the interesting part, the joke. To be honest, people assumed Diddy would have returned home by now. I'm referring to both his little PR team and those insiders who typically have better knowledge. As if they only needed to wait for the official "you're free to go" stamp, Diddy and his followers were reportedly confident, smiling, and displaying their chests in court.
Ladies and gentlemen, to my right and my left, there is not a better group of honest and ethical, hardworking, and zealous lawyers, and I especially wish to thank Mark and Tenny for allowing me and everyone else to come together. On behalf of my family, myself, I wish to thank you all for being here and writing truthfully about a man wrongly charged with most of the crimes, and that we all must remember that allegations are nothing. And I'd like to thank Sean for letting me be here. Thank you all. God bless.
And why wouldn't they believe that Trump was at one point merely trying to maintain people's optimism with symbolic gestures? Do you recall that interview? When asked if he would forgive Diddy, he said bluntly, "Well, we used to be cool, but politics messed that up." That small hesitancy was interpreted as a love message by Diddy's crew, kid. Rumor has it that they began lubricating the appropriate palms, scheduling private meetings, and phoning political contacts they don't usually call unless there's an emergency. In addition to those private meetings, according to the streets, there were more influential people present than at a Grammy after-party. The objective was straightforward: keep Trump's door slightly open when the moment came so he could enter, with that pardon document in hand. It's also not as if Trump has never played that game. We all witnessed him grant unexpected pardons to those who had been the target of mockery for weeks. NBA YoungBoy's weapons-related charges were dropped. Todd and Julie Chrisley ignored their fraud and tax evasion convictions as though they were only behind on a little debt. Even a group of motorcycle riders who had attended a picnic on January 6th were pardoned by him. Thus, Diddy's group believed they were simply waiting in line for their turn. The other pardons were allegedly supposed to be granted first. Consequently, no one would become alarmed when Diddy's name appeared in the headlines. See, everything are going as usual. However, the wind abruptly turned against Diddy somewhere along the way. Something had happened in the back channels, according to the rumors. Perhaps someone said something incorrectly. Perhaps Trump became frightened. Maybe he noticed something unpleasant. In any case, Diddy's group will eventually be laughing at his freedom. They then learn that he was fired by Trump. We can't stop this now, so let's punish him as harshly as we can. You could see how Diddy's behavior completely changed. He used to appear in court as though he had just come late for brunch. That child inspired its name. I am aware of my circumstances. That flip wasn't just about nostalgia either, if you believe the people on the block. It could have something to do with something Diddy allegedly attempted to do behind the scenes. What might have been his escape turned into the beginning of his demise because of a terrible error.
What is Sean Combs saying about the possibility of a pardon?
I think he knows I'm not political. We've never discussed it other than I tell him what's in the news about it. But you know.
And what's his reaction? Does he laugh? Does he say, let's look into it? What does he say?
Go tell him that I need a pardon. Go tell him I deserve a pardon.
According to the streets, Diddy wasn't only sitting in that cell attempting to win over Trump kid. No, he was allegedly acting from a different point of view. And he may have been playing with flames so hot that the entire pardon bridge was destroyed, dear. If these allegations are even partially accurate. You know, while Diddy was out here attempting to lock in his get-out-of-prison-free card, he was allegedly working with the FBI. Not to mention the endearing, I'll tell you who sells what kind of conversation. No, ma'am, we are discussing well-known names. Names that appear on magazine covers, in charity gala photographs, and in primetime interviews grinning as if they have no idea what they're doing. Oprah's name was allegedly floated. Gail the Kingeland DeGeneres, as well as other prominent politicians. According to rumors, Diddy was prepared to reveal what he knew or claimed to know, even if it meant shaving off years or getting a new fitted suit in place of the orange jumpsuit. But this is where things become complicated. There are rumors that Diddy didn't stop there. Not at all. His assertion that he had records or proof about Trump personally was the most audacious. According to the streets, the room's temperature dropped by an incredible 20 at that moment. There are currently no receipts available for the particular type of dirt that was found. However, Epstein's list was the most well-known notion circulating in the tumultuous online communities. Yes, there have been whispers about that list for years. According to some, careers could be destroyed if